singing and we're colored. Give me a high five.
All right, cut and print. Beautiful, guys. Dynamite. That is...
Yo, what's going on, everybody, man? It's your boy, the People's Champ, a.k.a. Remy Bucks of Plenty. Your host and moderator of the Backstage Brawl. For now, I'll be doing a solo recap of the SummerSlam PLE. First and foremost, you can follow us right now. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitch. We're live on our YouTube channel. We're also live on X. You can follow us on the name tag right there at Backstage_Brawl. We are officially live right now. Please share it live as we talk SummerSlam. Night 1 and night 2 of SummerSlam endings have been crazy, and did not expect Brock Lesnar to come back tonight. But let's get started. Let's just jump right into it tonight too in the SummerSlam. We'll talk about night 1 momentarily. But let's start with the main event. Let's just start it off with the main event of night 2, SummerSlam night 2, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Of course, if you saw Friday night on SmackDown, the return of the Boy Scout, aka Captain America, aka Super Cena, made a return on Friday night, stating the fact that he is back. And he wanted to he wanted to do this the right way and defend his WWE Championship. He wanted to retire as a champion, but no one foresaw what could have happened 48 hours later. This was probably John Cena's best match since being a champion. Obviously, John, for whatever reason, works better as a face, and he works better doing that. And him and Cody took it to each other the entire match. I got to give it to you, man. He had Cody on his heels most of the match. He was just basically just AAs and, just physically dominating Cody the entire match. And it got to a point where, Cody basically had to do everything underhandedly just to win. I know many people would have thought that because of the fact that there might have been a double turn tonight, there might have been an appearance from The Rock tonight that could have further fueled that fire. But Brock Lesnar showing up at the end of the match was a genuine surprise. But outside of that, guys, to those who are watching, man, what was your thoughts on that match? I thought it was John's best match, and Cody's once again champion. I guess we'll cross that bridge when I get the other guys, when we get Kid Ty and E and Matt on the show. We'll talk about it much later, but that was quite the match. Again, in my opinion, it's John Cena's best match as take off my glasses. This is John Cena's best match as a champion, especially going against Cody. And for Cody becoming the champion, he had to fight desperate. This was his legit last chance to become champion again, especially facing a guy like John Cena and losing it, just 3.5 months prior at WrestleMania. So he had to pull out all the stops in this street fight. One of my favorite spots was definitely the AA onto the table. They took it everywhere, from the ramp to outside to Cody taking the rope out and hitting him with the steel. It's a lot. It's a lot. But this was kind of fun seeing, that match happen, and however that turned out. They're doing the recap right now on Peacock, but as you see how the match turned out, it was very, 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 very good match, and definitely woke up the fans because it felt like a snooze. At least for me, it felt like a snooze fest much of the night. As we get a text right now. Moving on. That was a good match, and seeing Brock Lesnar come back, I didn't see that coming at all. I guess WWE is basically being out in MAGA. But let's start with what kicked off the night, man. SummerSlam Night 2, triple threat match for the Women's World Title match. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Naomi. It was a wholesome moment seeing Naomi come out with her dad and playing her out in her entrance music, going to the ring and being represented by her dad, and using that to fuel her and taking advantage of Rhea and Io and retaining her championship. I didn't get to see much of the match. I was watching it together with my girlfriend earlier today, but it was fun from what I saw and from what I gathered, and just seeing Naomi pick up the victory, and retaining her belt going past SummerSlam is a huge thing because now we get a chance to see her and Stephanie Becerra, in Paris in just a few short weeks. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Again, if you guys are watching, man, just chime in your thoughts in terms of what you felt about the match, man. Just let me know in terms of what you thought. If you liked it, you hated it, you didn't care for it, any any comment is a good comment, man. But for me personally, man, I'm just happy that Naomi picked up the victory. I thought it was too soon to kind of put it back on either Io or Rhea because I figured there's more within those two, and can't wait to see what happens from how Naomi continues with her title reign. Let's go with this match, the TLC match. Man. Candice LeRae deserves everything for taking that spot earlier tonight. I hope she's okay because it cannot be easy going through the ladder. And but hey, when you're in a TLC match, man, all bets are off, man. Just seeing, Rey Fenix and Andrade, seeing, Fraxium, the Wyatt Six, and Street Profits, who I felt should have won. Motor City Machine Guns making their first SummerSlam appearance, which would be pretty dope for them. I'm happy that they got a chance to do that, and they showed out tonight. I did not expect anything less from a TLC match. You were going to expect some carnage. You were going to expect some high octane offense and high spots, and Ciampa, looking like Spider-Man at that spot, which was crazy. I'm glad that he got out of it okay because I was hoping, please do not fall. Hold on to the belts or whatever the support that's holding the tag titles, with his life, and I'm glad that he did and got out of the spot okay. Hey man, anytime you get a TLC match, expect the tag team to show out, and that much they did tonight at the Wyatt Six retained. Again, for me personally, I wanted the Profits to win. They've been undervalued for so long, and for the first time in quite some time, this is their first PLE in more than a year. That's unfortunate because the Street Profits are, usually some fan favorites, and hopefully this will be the match that gets more tag teams on PLEs and not just relegated to, their respective shows or Saturday night's main event. Let's get up the Intercontinental Championship match for night 2, Dirty Dom Mysterio versus AJ Styles. I like the fact that AJ came out, honoring Eddie with the lowrider and his I'm not sure if it's his oldest son, but one of his sons came out with him in the entrance, and of course he was wearing a rendition of Eddie's attire, which I felt was dope. Shout out to AJ for doing that. Dom, since becoming Intercontinental Champion, when he's been put into situations like this, has shown out and proven to be a well put together champion. Especially if obviously he's working heel with Judgment Day. So for him doing what he did tonight and retaining it the way he did, in a similar matter how Eddie would have done it with the boot, that was a nice touch. Those two guys, they definitely showed out tonight. Wish the crowd was into it more. That's just a personal little thing for me, but they showed out tonight. Dirty Dom retained it, and maybe he gets a lot of juice going into Triple Mania going to Mexico. So who knows? So that was pretty huge for Dirty Dom. And for AJ, we talk about Cena for Cena having these moments, being his last moments at SummerSlam. Who knows what the status of AJ as he's beginning to wind down on his career. So that was definitely a good showing for me. That was one of my, personally good matches tonight with some good moments. Steel cage match, Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. Happy that Solo decided to take the United States Championship and keep it. It was definitely a good cage match between the two. They showed out. The one thing I just hope coming out of this match is the fact that I would love to see. I'd love to see Solo and Jacob move away from each other. Not anything MFT or anything like Bloodline-esque related. I'd like to see them kind of just venture off and to new people. You know, there's so much on that roster on SmackDown that you could venture off to. For Jacob, obviously, he's going to be a main event player. So you definitely see him and Cody mixing it up at some point. So why not start that now and break that off? And for Solo, who knows, man? You might get a chance to see Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight down the line again, and other people who are, like really, really, due for a mid card title run on SmackDown. You guys have the bodies, and those guys. For me, I just say utilize those guys. So hopefully this will be the end of it, and they can branch off and to do new things. I think they've told that story long enough. Maybe, hey, you never know in terms of who's going to be put in that position. But as for me, I think we're pretty much drowned out and tired of the, bloodline-esque MFT kind of story. I'm not saying them as a group, but, them, the infighting, I think it's time to kind of just switch it up and, open it up for some new competitors, especially on the SmackDown scene. But again, good match. There was some, things here and there, but, nothing's ever perfect in matches. But whatever I took from it is the fact that, hey, Jacob got his and Solo got the win, and they get a chance to move on and do what they got to do. What matches were on tonight? Cena, Jacob, I think we covered everything tonight too. So far, night 2 was the stronger card, you ask me. Obviously, because they had more championship matches on the card. Before we get to night 1, I think, at least for me personally, night 2 was the better card because of that. They had a lot more championship matches. And for the most part, each of them told the story and each of them got, what they wanted in terms of what happened. So, but again, to end off the night with Brock Lesnar returning, I honestly did not see Brock Lesnar returning at all. At all. I did not see Brock Lesnar returning. I did not see him returning and him and Cena going at it again. I would have thought that they would have given Cena that moment to enjoy himself. I didn't think that was the surprise that Triple H was trying to, allude to the fans. But it's been cool though, man. Hey, for Brock Lesnar, he's back. I don't know what's going to happen from that, but hey, you get Brock Cena one final time. Who knows how that's going to go down? Moving on. So about night 1, last night. Last night on night 1, we saw kicking off the night, Roman Reigns kicking off a PLE. It's crazy. You never would have thought to see the day that Roman kicks off a PLE. Roman, Jey Uso, took down Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I'll say this, man. Braun Breaker is going to be a major player in the coming years. He is young enough. He is definitely someone that WWE views as someone that they could put the championship on and just, put the rocket on him and just send him to the moon in terms of a push. Bronson Reed is definitely somebody that they see as championship material down the line, whether it be for the main or for the mid-card title. Both together are extremely dominant together. And they showed out yesterday, man. But Roman wrestled his ass off yesterday. He had to, remind people that, that when he's working face, that he can show out when he wants to. Jey Uso obviously was yeeting and all that kind of stuff, and provided the energy, and they picked up the victory. I enjoyed it, man. That was a good kickoff match, and I think Roman's PTO time is gonna be kicking in after this because I don't know what's left for the OTC to do at this point. Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn. As much as I love both guys in this match, I felt this was one of the weaker matches of the night. But, Sami picked up the dub. I do believe the fact that this part of it has something to do with Kross possibly not re-signing his contract and leaving the WWE. It's kind of unfortunate because the fans are really starting to get behind him. And regardless of his situation, contractually with the company, unfortunately, he's fell through allegedly. So we don't know until anything does happen. But if this was the last we've seen of Karrion Kross, just wish it kind of could have ended better this time around because the fans were really starting to get around this character. And hopefully he lands on his feet if he decides to go elsewhere. A lot of people was talking about this match right here for night one. Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew and Logan. It's a solid match. I'll give you that. Both guys showed out. Logan Paul at this point has proven the fact that he's not just a socialite or influencer that just turned wrestler. Like he's fully, into being a WWE wrestler at this point, or just a professional wrestler at this point. He just gets it. No matter how much you love him or hate him, like he's really, really got wrestling down. And he's done a really good job, last night. And it was important that they picked up the victory because they kind of needed something, and Drew needed something. Like Orton, not going to be hurt by this loss. Jelly Roll looked good last night. Somewhere in wrestling paradise, Big Boss Man was happy with the way he kind of took that slam in the middle of the ring and how he was moving as a big man last night. But that was a really, really good match. It's crazy because more the celebrities that have come into WWE as of late have really done well. If you look at Bad Bunny, who's recently claimed that he's the best celebrity turned wrestler. Jelly Roll did a great job last night. And of course, Logan Paul, who's really, really, gotten really, really well as a performer in WWE. Can't take nothing from him. Like he's really that guy. But yeah, that match is pretty good, man. I enjoyed that last night. But moving on to the women's championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. Respects to Jade Cargill coming out in her representing her heritage of Jamaican descent with the Jamaican flag, with the Jamaican colors. Because obviously, and I think it was Independence Day yesterday for Jamaicans. So, shout out to the Jamaicans on their Day of Independence, and the Jade represented her heritage loud and proud last night at MetLife. And it's unfortunate because I felt it was time to take the title off of Tiffany. I'm not sure in terms of what the company intends to do with that, but hey, man, it's all good with that. Hopefully, I guess with Bianca being cleared that she might be the one to take the title off of Tiffany, kicking off a story between her and Jade possibly down the line. Who knows? But as of right now, Tiffany Stratton is still your WWE Women's Champion. And to those who doubted Jade in terms of her ring ability, she has definitely brought it this year, as a performer. And for me personally, I can't be any prouder in terms of what she's been able to do. She's continued to show out in the ring, whether it was just the match with Charlotte or just the match with Nia or just whatever she's been able to be put in, whether it's the Royal Rumble, even this angle with Naomi. Like she's been able to show out her true talents and feel more comfortable in the ring rather than being hesitant in her initial run here in WWE and when she was in AEW as a TBS champion. I'm getting a text right now from Kid Ty saying that the company needs fixing because clearly he didn't like the main event. So when Kid Ty gets back next week, I'm pretty sure he's going to be met. He's going to meet everything in terms of SummerSlam with some dissatisfaction because he wants better, and I understand. That just took place on night one. Tag team match for the Women's World Championships. Judgment Day, Rhea and Roxanne versus Alexa and Charlotte. What I get the feeling is like for them to teaming up is like the Rock and Sock connection. When they won the tag team titles, like odd, they're like the female version of an odd couple, where opposites attract and personalities may not mesh, but somehow, some way in the form of a tag team, it just works. and they ended up winning the tag team gold yesterday against Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. And shouts to shouts to Raquel. I know you may probably not watching this, but shouts out to Raquel. Since Kevin Nash told her to work like a big man, she's been working true to that and been showing out in her matches lately. And for Roxanne, obviously she's the prodigy, continuing to do what she's doing in the ring. But for Charlotte and Alexa, who they may not have much for them right now, this was a good route to give them the titles. As for Judgment Day, it's time to kind of split those guys up at some point, little by little, not all at once, but slowly and surely break up the Judgment Day, because it's been going on for too long, and I think it's time for something new for everybody else involved, in that group, including Finn Balor, who deserves a true singles run and a true path to a world title. That's just me, but again, you never know what Triple H is planning or booking, with the writing staff, with the creative crew backstage. But the ending of the match was cool because it was an ode and a nod to when Bray and Roman was tagging, I think, over a decade ago, and the way they ended that match, Sister Abigail into what Charlotte did to finish up the match and win those tag titles. But shouts out to those girls. They definitely won the title match yesterday. Oh yeah, main event. Main event, night one, Gunta versus CM Punk with the World Heavyweight Championship match. One thing I will say about both nights is the fact that both main event world title matches for Raw and SmackDown delivered. I would lean. It's kind of early for me to lean towards in terms of which was better, but I will say both of them definitely delivered tonight. From Cena to Cody tonight to Punk and Gunther last night. Can't expect nothing else from a Gunther championship match. When the title's on the line, Gunther always shows out. Was really taking it to Punk early. I was really, really shocked to see Gunther bleed. And that really changed the dynamic of the match. It was almost like Rocky IV when he's going against Drago, and Rocky finally cut Drago, and Tony was in his corner. It's like, oh, he's bleeding. That means he's not a machine. He's a man. So Punk, in Punk's way about that, saw that and took opportunities to really take it to him, throughout the match, and submissions, and the way they were going about it, throughout the match. I felt it was Punk's best showing. I'm happy he didn't leave the match hurt. He finally captured the world championship since returning after he left in 2014. This is his first championship since winning the AEW world title back back a few years ago when he was with AEW. But Seth Rollins had something to say about that as he came out, shocked the world again, and cashed in on CM Punk, thus winning another world title at a major PLE. And listen, man, say what you want about Seth Rollins, but he is somebody that, through hella high water, if you give him something, he is going to be, very, very good in that role and prosper in it. And I got to give it to Seth, man. He came out and showed out. And for some who, weren't in the loop or, smarks or whatever, saying, it's a work, this and a third, to those who were genuinely surprised, they were genuinely surprised that Seth Rollins was able to win, come back, fake his injury, and of course take the title from CM Punk at moments after just winning it. I know memes are going around online in terms of Punk, should have left the ring before the graphic came on. But hey, in the world of wrestling, man, anything can happen. So Punk came out, got the dub, but Seth said, that doesn't work for me, brother. It was able to come out and cash in on Punk. It's crazy, almost 10 years apart, which is crazy for Rollins. And of course, Drew being the petty dude that he is like, nah, now you know how it feels, Punk, being extremely petty. And Matt Hardy as well put up a tweet. So, all in all, man, thinking about the SummerSlam event, night 2, I do believe the fact that it should not be 2 nights. I do believe SummerSlam should be 1 night. I get why, but I think the only PLE in WWE that should be at least 2 nights is WrestleMania. But in the event that they did both nights, hey, it was for them. I guess it was a success. For me, night 2 again was better. Night 1 had its moments, but I think that night 2 had better matches and better payoffs. If you kind of get what I'm saying. Again, Brock Lesnar showing up at the main event after the main event, Cena losing and trying to get his move from the crowd. Nobody expected that. Nobody. Like, the entire crowd in Jersey was just like, holy shit. Like, I never thought that would have happened. And to seeing Brock come back and having more hair than I ever thought he'd ever have at this stage of his life. Not one gray hair. Came out. Cena looked ready to go, but come on now. In the 20-plus years you've seen Brock and Cena go at it, Cena could never really take down Brock like that. Come on now. Like, let's be serious. Whether it's 2002, 2012 when he first came back and was out of shape, or even now is Cowboy Brock, basically taking out Cena. It's always been his Achilles heel, or the doomsday to his Superman, if you will. And now I think, probably at maybe a Saturday night's main event or the next PLE, whenever it is, maybe Clash in Paris, that they'll face off at least one final time on their run. It's just wild, man, to me to see Brock Lesnar back after rumors and everything that's going on with the Janelle Grant case and everything. The fact that he would, probably never be in WWE ever again. Like, it was over. Even Daniel, for Daniel Cormier to say, like, yo, like, it's a wrap for Brock in WWE. For him to come back and be like, yeah, man. That was just crazy. But personally for me, man, night 2, again, had better moments. More, depth in terms of matches. TLC match for me was one of the biggest highlights of the night because of, what every team put into that match. Regardless of who won, they put in, whether it was Fraxium or Ray Phoenix, Street Profits. Again, I feel really bad for Candice LeRae for taking that bump, but she's a trooper. She's a champ for that. Naomi, starting off the show with a dub. That's always important. Of course, the women showed out this weekend entirely. Got to give it up to the women, Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch, and they showed out. Especially with Bayley intervening. That saga is going to be continuing between her and Lyra throughout the latter parts of the summer into the fall. So I think WWE has some things going into the near future. Obviously, I know one match is definitely penciled in, which is, Naomi versus Stephanie Bakir at Clash of the Castle. I don't know how WWE is going to basically promote or move forward with this going in. I can't even fancy book it, even if I had the foresight to. But hey, tonight was tonight was all right. I enjoyed it. If I had to rate SummerSlam as a whole, I'd probably say it's a 7. I wouldn't necessarily say it was oh my God, it was a great event, but it was a solid event. You had some great moments, you had some mediocre moments, but for those that moments that paid off, it did what it was supposed to. Outside of like a select few matches, select few moments. I mean, this, and of course, Seth cashing in and Rock coming back, and Jelly Roll having a few, taking a huge bump from Logan Paul at the table, which was pretty huge. There's been some good moments. You can take the good with the bad, and for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not gonna say like, oh my God, like it was, I'm not going to overhype the event. I came away with it, thinking that, okay, it was their first 2-night event. They had to try it out. Nothing was perfect. And I guess if they're going to do this next year in Minnesota, this is, now they have a template in terms of how to better pace the show. And it's crazy because, like, the show started at 6 on both days because I was in the city yesterday and I came back from the movies today after my date. And I was just like, damn, I realized, it started early. And I appreciate that, Triple H, for doing that so that, people who are above the age of 25 can get some adequate rest. And for those who got work in the morning can actually prepare. Outside of that, man, I definitely enjoyed the event. I'm pretty much like simultaneously watching the post show. Cody Rhodes is out right now with the crowd since they don't do the press conferences anymore. He's out with the crowd and they're doing the post show and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna keep you guys here, man. I'm just rambling and shit like that. But I just wanted to say, man, it's been a while since we've been on. Some scheduling conflicts here and there. And just basically I've been working a lot. As you can see, I've had a good shave or a cut in about almost a month. So I've been basically just pushing it and working hard as I can and stuff like that. But I sit down with the boys, try to get some consistent, ideas and processing for new episodes coming, in the near future. But I did want to come on and talk about SummerSlam, at least put something out and talk to you guys. So for those who are, who joining in and tuning in tonight, I appreciate y'all. 85 people that are joining in in the live right now. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube page at The Backstage Brawl. Follow us on our Twitter. It's there. Backstage_Brawl. You can follow us on Facebook at The Backstage Brawl. We're live on Twitch. Yeah, man. You can that's where you can definitely find us. We're also on Instagram at The Backstage Brawl as well. Shout out to Mean Gene, who handles the IG and Facebook. Did a really good job in terms of engagement with the fans and stuff like that. I mostly dabble with the Twitter from time to time. So yeah, shouts out to the team, man. Shout out to Kid Ty, Big E, BK Matt. Shout out to Matt because yesterday was his birthday. So shout out to him. With that said, man, I'm not gonna leave you guys here too long. I've been rambling for about 33 minutes now, so I was just gonna come on and talk about the event and whatnot. But hopefully we'll be back next week. I can't make any promises. Probably gonna be depending on what happens, for the next couple weeks with WWE. We'll hopefully be on. I'm trying to get some stuff, trying to get back into writing, trying to do some stuff, get ready for, my basketball podcast with Dre in terms of the Run the Break podcast. Shout out to Your Sports Show. So, yeah, that's pretty much it on my part. But, yeah, man, about to sign off, man. I hope you guys have a great night. But for me, I hope you guys really enjoyed SummerSlam. Whatever you take from it, cool. If you didn't like it, hey, that's your prerogative. You guys have that. That's your choice too. I mean, you don't have to like everything. So, but for the most part, man, I hope you guys just took something away from the 2-night SummerSlam and whether it's positive or negative. And hope you guys enjoyed it. But with that said, man, I'm People's Champ signing out. See you guys when I see y'all. Enjoy. Peace.